Hello and welcome to the Rough Neck Minute, a Movies by Minute podcast where we go over the movie Starship Troopers 1 minute at a time. I'm one of your hosts, Matthew.
And I'm your other host, Johann.
And we're at minute 29. This minute begins with Rico telling Ace that he's got something that Ace doesn't have, and ends with Zim walking up to a pinned Ace after throwing a knife through his hand. So this is going to be a very entertaining minute, apparently.
Yeah, these are the parts where stuff in the script got moved around. Obviously going to talk about just a little bit of that, but we'll go beat by beat.
Definitely we will. I want to say that these next few minutes coming up, including this one, is pretty iconic because, I mean, whenever you talk about Starship Troopers, you talk about a few things. I mean, a drill instructor throwing a knife into a recruit's hand is kind of uncalled for in today's military. So it's kind of a big thing. Like, oh yeah, that movie where the guy got a knife thrown in his hand.
Yeah, I don't think that's something you can do nowadays.
Who knows? I mean, what is it? Arlie Ermy choked out Gomer Pyle by having him, choke himself, basically.
Yeah.
So who knows if that actually happened? I'm not sure. It probably did.
I mean, this is we'll think about the medical advances would allow something like this to happen. You can just fix them up in a couple minutes, actually.
Yeah. So why not?
But
why not have a lesson, taught by maiming someone?
Well, would he have any problems with his hand?
Probably not. I mean, if Breckenridge is, using his arm to hold up his tray after getting it broken, I'm pretty sure it's fine.
And obviously in the later minutes, if, to those that have seen the movie already, Johnny would have a problem walking.
Yes.
So, I guess they're at the point where they're being a little too liberal with the hurting recruits. But this is a world where like these type of things would be fixed almost immediately.
Yeah, I mean, it still goes into the whole entire fact that, hey, instead of telling you why you did something wrong, we're going to punish you directly outright for it, or just showing you with, hey, naked force that, hey, this is how we do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we before all that though, we get Rico telling Ace that he's got something that Ace doesn't have that will make him a better squad leader. Ace tells him, "You rich kids are all the same," implying that Rico probably gets what he wants because he comes from money. He's used to getting what he wants.
So this is the part that makes me think that Ace also doesn't come from money.
Probably not. No.
It just seems like he's just a very motivated dude.
Yeah. Which in the next few minutes, actually, we'll know why he's pretty motivated as well too.
But it's just that part. It's just like the minute he calls out someone's social status, that means he doesn't have that social status.
Yeah.
Because you can easily kind of perceive him that he's going to be a leader because maybe his dad is a corporate suit.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to be a top person because my dad is a top person. But the minute he calls Johnny out on his social status, that just makes it that, okay, Ace doesn't have a social status either.
It's also making me think that Rico's father or Rico's father's company is kind of well known as well too, because I don't think Rico would come out and say, "Hey, yeah, I'm that Rico. I'm this Rico of this guy who made millions of dollars with his company." So the fact that Ace is like, "Oh yeah, you rich kids," because he knows that Rico is rich, offhand probably.
Maybe by the last name.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, oh, that Rico of this Rico company. Who knows what Mr. Rico's company actually is in this world.
Yeah, they do textiles and textile manufacturing.
That's true. Okay.
So, another thing about the script versus this, it's no secret that they remove the Marauder suits. We talked about in previous minutes that about that that toy of the Marauder suit.
Hmm.
Now in this obstacle course, they're supposed to be wearing the suits, the power suits.
Now, I think I remember the toy, but it was more like an exoskeleton kind of toy, kind of like Ripley's front loader, right?
Yeah. Uh, but I guess since the movie it was cut out altogether, it just made it pointless for them to wear the suits. Maybe it was well, yeah. Maybe it was just too much to just have a what's it called the power suit, and it wasn't really necessary.
Yeah. It really kind of bummed me out because in the book, the power suit was a main staple. It's pretty much the first thing that they got accustomed to. They basically had to learn how to carry an egg without, without breaking it. They had, they had actuators in it that would be able to crush a man's skull, but they were going to be so gentle as to hold or I'm sorry, peel a hard boiled egg or something like that.
That okay, holding an egg I can understand, but peeling one would be very very difficult.
Exactly. So they had to learn how to do that, all that stuff with these, strength modifiers in their power suit. But we don't get this in this movie. The only time we actually see the Marauder suit on film is in Starship Troopers 3 Marauder. And they look more like Robotech. I'm sorry, not Robotech.
Macross?
No, not Macross. if
Which
they
is basically the same thing.
no. I was thinking more Mech Warrior. The big hulking, bipedal robots that just have like arms for cannons or cannons for arms kind of thing.
No, I meant that Macross and Robotech are the same thing.
I know they are.
Yeah.
But they don't look like awesome planes though, which would be amazing if they did.
Oh, if they could transform, that'd make me want to be a Starship Trooper even more.
Oh man, if they had any mechs, I'd want to be in any kind of military with those mechs.
Oh, I know.
Heck,
There's
even
that mech.
oh, go
There's
ahead.
that mech. There's that mech warrior fight that's about to go on YouTube soon.
Man, I know, but unless it's because I mean that's not even on par with RoboJocks.
Nah,
No, isn't that what it's called, RoboJocks?
the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Okay, let me make sure because I don't want to sound like an idiot.
No, it is.
RoboJocks.
I watched that movie when I was a kid.
Robot Jocks.
All right.
Yeah. So it's on par with, I mean, those things are not even on par with Robot Jocks, which, I mean, that movie was great, but those robots were clunky and huge and disgusting. But they were great.
I watched that movie mostly on mute and late at night because it really was about the robots for me.
Yeah. They looked really good again, but they were clunky. But I mean, yeah, this coming up robot fight on YouTube isn't even going to be on par with that kind of thing. I'm
No.
talking about full on, hell, even what is it? A Metal Gear. Like, give me a Shagohod or something. Metal Gear 3. I want big suits. I want piloted mech suits.
Yeah, but I think what they're showing off in this YouTube one is they have artillery, which is exciting.
Yeah, I mean, all you need to do is just give a tank a torso and a head, and you got artillery.
I guess, but
Heck, even in the Gundam universe, make a gun tank. It's pretty much the same thing, but it has tank treads, two big arm cannons, and huge artillery cannons on the back.
yeah, but what makes this one exciting is the cockpit versus having the piloting seat on a tank.
True. Yeah. Well,
And plus, it's got a lot more switches, which makes it different.
man, I wanted that. What was it? That video game that had all the switches. It was Steel.
Steel Battalion.
Yeah.
Yes.
With like
But
130 switches or something like that.
yeah, but it was too expensive. It
Way too
cost
expensive.
as much as the system.
It really did. Yeah, it was amazing. And the only thing I have now to supply me with some kind of Revelant or some kind of the only thing that I have that is kind of like that now is my HOTAS that I use for Elite Dangerous. Kind of is the same. It has, about 20 buttons, but even still. But yeah, no mech suits in this movie at all until the third one. In the new movies, they actually do have a Marauder suit, but it actually is more of an exoskeleton kind of suit. but not in the sense that it's opened up like in the toys for Starship Troopers.
Yeah.
But
Well, because you got to add the figurine.
yeah, exactly. But Rico, we'll go back to the minute a little bit, and Rico says it isn't about that; it's about who's the best. So he's, saying, "Oh, I know I'm rich, but I'm cut off. You can't do anything. I can't do anything." And this isn't about being rich; it's about who's the better leader.
Yeah,
But
but I don't think they know that he's cut off from his family. It's most likely a private thing that he's going to keep to himself.
true,
So he just hides the fact that he's cut off. But everybody assumes that he's the Rico that people know who he is.
yeah,
So um yeah, I can see. I guess that would be frustrating if you were Johnny Rico. Like everybody's throwing your wealth in your face, but they don't know you don't have any.
true. Well, I mean, also now he doesn't have much wealth anyway. He's being provided for by the service, and he's pretty much just like everyone else.
Well, everybody's at that point where they're being provided by the service, but you know what I mean. Though, if he's going to receive the same stuff as everybody else because they don't want the recruits to stand out more than the others. They want you all to be the same. Let's say bottom feeder that everybody else is. Once you recruit, nobody's treated any differently. Nobody has anything that's different. So
Yeah,
on the surface, everybody's going to look the same, but on the inside, like their social standing, who they are as a person, people are going to look at Rico as the rich kid because of his notoriety with his family, but they don't know it that he's just not rich anymore. But to be Rico, you're going to constantly have that thrown in your face because unless he tells you, you're going to assume that he has all the money that uh, that would make it like, why are you even in the infantry? You don't need to be here. Because
yeah.
who is it? Is it Kitten, the one who goes into Harvard?
No,
Or is
that's
it
Sujumi. Yeah,
Yes, Shijumi. So he would be someone that's like, why are you in infantry? If you were going to Harvard like I want to, you wouldn't need to be here.
well, we get into it in the next minute actually, where he says he's going into Harvard, but it's too expensive.
Yeah. So that's why, like, something like that would immediately, well, not, I guess not immediate, but it would make you wonder, like, why is Johnny here? Because I know why I'm here, but it wouldn't be the same reasons as me. Like, the social standing would immediately set him apart.
Yeah, I get that.
And everybody, like, it just sucks at this point for Johnny, uh, because people will definitely throw this in your face.
Yeah. But yeah, after all that talk of everything being the best and everything, we hear a hey coming up from behind both Rico and Ace, and it's Dizzy on a zip line where she proceeds to knock them both off the platform and into a pit of mud.
Yeah, go Diz.
She even dismounts all gracefully and looks really, really pleased with herself for teaching these boys a lesson.
Yeah, what are you doing in the mud?
Mm-hmm. Or
You
like
even
even kind of the thing where like in the last couple minutes where the other recruits were like, oh, that's the kind of girl that makes squad leader. She's like saying, oh, you know what? You two aren't the only contest for a squad leader. I can
yeah.
too.
Well, the thing is Diz can be a squad leader for sure,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what makes her so awesome. But it sucks that she turns all that down just to be with Johnny, and Johnny kind of rebuffs her every time because she definitely could have been a squad leader.
Yeah, she loves Rico. What can you do?
Yeah, no.
But the
Yeah.
scene changes though, and we get to see recruits throwing knives. One knife goes right into a bullseye, and we look back and see Rico smiling. He just made that bullseye.
Yep.
Ace Zim calls for the next squad to come up and let fly their knives. Ace gets up to the line, throws his knife, and it bounces up with a clang.
Yeah.
But in the background, I noticed someone else yelling as well to a few recruits, telling them, "Let's go, you sissies!" And I've never heard someone, except maybe in fourth or third grade, call anyone a sissy.
I
I mean, I don't know if I'd. Can you imagine Career Sergeant, Clancy Brown Zim calling his recruits sissies?
it would be weird because of everything else he's said beforehand.
Exactly, it's out of place. I mean, you don't. Yeah, recruit from everything I know about uh staff sergeants or any kind of boot camp sergeants or even like documentaries, because God forbid, I've never been in the military and I know I won't cut it in the military. But from what I know, these guys are mean as nails, or hard as nails, and mean just the same, and will say the worst things that they can to you. I mean, just look at, Arlie Ermy in Full Metal Jacket. He, just straight up demeans people left and right without, consequence for his words. So to hear someone say, "Oh, come on, you sissies," is kind of just silly.
Yeah.
But Ace gripes to Zim about throwing knives after his bounces off. Zim actually looks at it and just kind of shakes his head, like, "Oh, come on." But it's kind of weird too, because in the commentary, Casper does say that they did do knife training for the scene as well too, and Jake Busey was the best at the knife throwing.
Oh, that means he was doing this screw-ups on purpose.
Exactly.
Probably.
So, I mean, he was definitely, trying really, really hard to probably make it bounce off and make that big clang.
Oh,
um,
I like Ace more and more.
he's great, yeah, but he gripes to Zim, says, "I don't see the point for throwing knives if you just push a button,
Sir.
sir." Because he remembered he had to do first and last words out of your. He's like, "Sir," and, and he talks about it and ends with the "sir," because the first and last words out of your stinking holes needs to be "sir."
Yep.
But yeah, Zim tells the recruits to cease fire, and walks over to the. He walks in the line of fire basically to the targets. Tells Ace to put your hand on that wall, trooper, and Ace kind of crosses his arms, looks a little hesitant at it.
Put your hand on that wall.
Oh, it's such a great line. Put your hand on that wall, with that upper inflection.
Yeah.
And we see some of the other recruits, actually in the background too, we see some other recruits in the background doing like stretches, calisthenics while all this is happening. And they're just, no, left and right, kind of like that. What is it? The hula workout chair?
Yeah.
You ever see one of those?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, that thing's disgusting. But Ace reluctantly puts his hand on the wall. Zim takes the knife from the target, flips it to have the bladed part, thrown, as you usually would, I suppose, for throwing knives, and just lets fly. And goes between a bunch of recruits and hits Ace's hand square center right in the middle. We also get a little bit of nice CG blood splatter, but also a lot of practical effects too.
Yeah, and I'd like to think that some of this puppetry work is also with the was it Tippett Studios?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'd like to think that the hand that's like the one that's obviously like trying to grip out of it.
Mm-hmm.
That obviously this wasn't Jake Busey's real hand, but I think this was done by that same studio.
What? It wasn't Jake Busey's real hand? He doesn't have a scar?
Nah.
Okay.
Sorry, man.
No.
Movie magic.
Magic. No, it actually is a really good thing too, because normally with this kind of trick, you would have Jake Busey's hand like in the wall. And it would be behind the wall, his hand would be just fine, but there would be like a puppet hand attached to the wall with like strings or wires or anything. But as we'll see later on in the next minute, that's not the case. He actually takes this prosthetic hand with him, so it's probably a hand cast where his actual hand is maybe a few inches below the fake hand, kind of like Jamie and Game of Thrones, where he has the gold hand but just fits it on his regular hand probably.
Yeah.
So it would
Actually,
look a little weird if he had his hands down to the side. You'd see one a little longer, but that's not the case at this point.
actually, I might be mistaken. Maybe it's with a what's it called, a Kevin Yeager's production company, because they're the ones that actually did like the special effect makeup.
Hmm.
It's a little bit tough because I know each group was separated to do certain things, but this could be puppetry because the hand is moving.
Yeah, it does move when it gets hit, and even when in the next minute when the fingers move after Zim takes the knife out, it moves again, and
Yeah,
it's like the tendons are reacting to finally being released from the knife.
yeah.
But
So
we need to not get into the next minute because, but that is in the next minute. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, I mean, everyone looks horrified that again the drill instructor has maimed someone. Um, but that's the thing though. I don't know how they could be after Breckenridge's arm break and Dizzy's, choking out. How they could be kind of um, surprised at it. I can only see it as maybe a um, what is it? Not an acceleration, but an escalation of violence against recruits.
yeah,
But this is not what it happens in. This is not what happens in the books or the anime. Actually, Zim does not throw a knife at a recruit. This was done specifically for the movie. But I'll get into that the next minute because that's when everything is explained as well too. But we see Zim walk up, in between. Actually, before after he throws a knife, I like it because he kind of pulls his tunic down, straightens himself out, and just starts saunterly walking over to Ace, who is, just in pain because he's got a giant knife in his hand.
yeah. So, no, dang it, I'll do it later on
Next
because there's
minute,
a lot. Yeah, no, not the next minute, but after you, because there's a lot of stuff that didn't make the movie.
go ahead and do it
And
now. I'm done.
okay, okay,
This is pretty much the end of the scene anyway, or the end of the minute.
okay. So there's a lot of stuff in the movie that was cut out from the script, obviously, and I keep hinting at it, and these are the things that actually changes. So this scene with the knife is actually prior to the lunch scene in the script. And all of this is also when Diz gets introduced, and it's not when the recruits are standing outside being introduced to Zim. She actually gets introduced during the obstacle courses.
Hmm.
Now in the script, I did mention that Ace says, "I'd like to disable Zim." I kind of let that slip a little bit because that's not exactly what Breckenridge says,
No.
but he's talking about the hand
Oh.
because Zim says this is how you disable him. So he says, "I'd like to disable Zim." So he's making a direct comment about putting a knife through Zim's hand.
Oh, I like that actually.
So check this. When the obstacle course starts, it starts right after Shujumi is the one that passes out in the fight, not where Diz gets passed out.
Yeah.
So they start the day with the jump boots. As you remember, the jump boots were in the jump ball games.
Hmm.
So this is where the flip 6-3 hold starts to play in because they become very similar because they are actually using the same exact shoes on how Rico does that flip because it comes into play because of the jump boots.
Are you telling me that jump ball is all a recruiting mechanism for the military?
Pretty much, doesn't
Oh
it?
no! They've ruined America's pastime. I'm sorry, the Federation's pastime.
I know. so
Man.
so they've been training on all these with the jump boots only to make it more familiar when they actually hit the battlefield. So they actually get the field testing of some of the gear. I'm pretty sure they're actually wearing some of the gear that the army wears. So it's kind of like, let's test it on the jump ball kids and see how it works.
Hopefully not those old hockey helmets.
Yeah. So it seems like in the script, Zim is a little bit more of a hard nose than he is in the movie. Like I said, Verhoeven did make changes to make it seem like all the characters were more well liked.
Yeah.
So they're running on the obstacle course, and Gianna hits the tower and falls to the deck hard, and she drops her rifle. And Zim immediately rushes up to her, saying, "Why is that weapon on the ground? Your weapon is more important than you are. Pick it up, pick it up." And then he kicks her because she doesn't move fast enough.
Yeah. Jeez.
So this is where the line comes in, the one, "You might think I'm unfair." And
Mhm.
that's the whole line of like walking down Washout Lane.
Oh, okay.
So these are definitely the parts where they're being messed around with, but in the movie it seems to flow a little bit better.
Yeah, they cut it down for time also, it seems like, or more relevance. Like, let's get it all in one big block so we can let you know what happens when you want to leave and quit instead of doing maybe a 15-minute, a 15-minute training montage when we can just cut it down to 5 kind of thing.
Yeah. So the part where he says, "You might think I'm unfair," is a voiceover. So he doesn't exactly say it to the recruits on screen.
Huh.
Here's where they all start to tie together. So next day he's actually doing zero gravity combat with the recruits. So he's going against Kitten now. He lets Kitten smack Zim on the jaw. Zim says, "Is that all you got? You hit like a kitten, Smith."
Yeah. That's
So
where he got it.
So he starts making fun of his name,
Mm-hmm.
and then wham, he knocks out Smith. And then there's a voiceover that says, "You will not like me." So some of you may not like it. You will not like me. So now they're going through more physical training. It's called hyper physical training environments. The recruits are facing off with 3D off-world foes. So it might be the simulation of what the anime enemies look like.
Yeah.
So it's like Cyclops soldiers of Antilles, Red Death Walkers, and then another screeching arachnid warriors. So it's like they're kind of phasing up to the actual arachnids.
Pretty much like an AR simulation kind of thing.
Yeah, so the Cyclops soldiers and the Red Death Walkers, weren't those the enemies that were used in the anime?
Not really.
They weren't bugs.
No, they were like weird anglerfish looking aliens with 2 legs, but I'm thinking you said the Cyclops creatures and Antilles, though. It kind of sounds.
Yeah, and the Red Death Walkers.
Okay, so they may have had more aliens or other enemies in the script as well too. But yeah, in the book, it's just the skinnies and the arachnids. In the anime, it's the weird anglerfish.
Which could be the Red Death Walkers.
Could be, yeah.
So maybe they took something from that. I don't know. So as the recruits are going through these training environments, there's another voiceover by Zim, and it says, "But if you survive, you will thank me because you will be born again hard. You'll be a new person. You'll be a cap trooper, and then maybe you'll be good enough to serve in my family."
Yeah.
So this is where like the whole thing comes in, that where he wants to see his recruits acting like a squad. So that's why I was kind of saying that in the mess hall, that this is the part where it seems like the squad is starting to become a squad because they aren't fighting with each other. Instead, it seems like they're all actually going against Zim, but they all respect him.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing in Band of Brothers. If you ever seen that show in the very beginning, the first episode, Kurahi, we get to meet Captain Sobel, who is a horrible, horrible, horrible squad. I'm sorry, recruit. Not sorry. He is a horrible sergeant, a boot camp sergeant, and he makes everyone hate him, and because of that, everyone groups up and kind of looks out for each other to kind of just distance themselves from Sobel.
Yeah, but he's like, but I think he doesn't do it on purpose in Band of Brothers to make them all band together to hate him, because overall he just becomes a horrible soldier.
Yeah, he's a bad guy, but even like in the show, Winter or Ron Livingston's character says, oh no, he's a genius. And I don't think he is. Yeah, he probably just is a horrible, mean person who's like, oh, your pass is revoked. We can pass revoked. Your chevrons are sewn upside down. Well,
Yeah.
do you have dust on your jump wings? How are you going to expect to kill the Huns if you got dusty jump wings? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, it really did bring them together to make them a band of brothers. Kind of like Zim is bringing them together to make them a squad.
Yeah, but in Band of Brothers, I think he's just unlikable. Like, he doesn't try and get it for everybody to end up wanting to be in a group together, because at the very end he doesn't salute him for being a high-ranking officer. Instead, he tries to hide the fact that he doesn't see him, so he doesn't have to acknowledge him.
I hate that part so much, but I love it so much too, because Winters is like, we don't salute the man, we salute the rank.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So he just doesn't like any of the recruits that come through.
Yeah.
He doesn't try and make them better. He, to me, is just like, he just doesn't like soldiers in some way.
Well, so that's the character in the show too, because apparently the real Sobel wasn't that much of a jerk.
Yeah. But if he wanted everybody to band together to become better, he would have saluted him for the fact that he became such a high-ranking person.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, congratulations, I'm glad, someone from my group got a high something. But instead, he was just like, oh man, now he's higher than me? Screw this,
Yeah, I'm mad. They took easy way from me. I'm a commandant at a training facility. This is bull. I should be out in combat, and that's what he wanted, but he was a horrible leader.
Yeah.
But that's we're digressing. We're tangenting again.
Yeah.
We're tangenting a little bit again. But that's really where that minute ends, unless you got something else you want to say.
No. This, because right at this point, right after Ace takes the knife to the hand, this is where Diz shows up.
Okay.
In the script. So like in a movie, as soon as that blade is stuck in his hand, he's pointing it out. Like, he cannot. This part is just too funny, where he says like, "The enemy can't push a button if you disable his hand." Like, he's just pointing it out. Like, he's not even acknowledging the fact that Ace is in pain.
Mm-hmm.
So Zim's not paying attention to him, and then he's just looking at this recruit that's walking up to him, and then it's Diz. So she says, "Sir, recruit Floor is reporting for duty." And the whole exchange is the same in the movie, where he says, like, she came in from Fort Cronkite. And Zim says, it is the best, but what makes you think you're good enough? On your belly and give me 50. So she just does 50 push-ups. She doesn't get into that hand-to-hand combat like in a movie does.
Mm-hmm.
So he's doing push-ups, or she's doing push-ups. Zim is counting out loud while the medics arrive to work on Ace's hand.
Yeah.
So, like, all of this is going on while Ace is just bleeding out.
No, I mean, there's not too many big arteries in the hand where he can bleed out from.
No, but there's still blood, though.
Yeah.
But, so right after that is the mess hall. Ace says, I'd like to disable Zim. So that's how it starts up.
Oh, okay. It's just a little bit backwards.
Well, the entire training the entire training portion of the... what's it called, where they're going through all the hyper training. The jump boots was obviously removed, so I can see why they'd remove that. But the parts where he tells Jonna that the weapon is more important than her and kicks her, like that, I can see was taken out because it would make Zim more unlikable. Him punching Kitten, and that's what gives Kitten his name. The hyper training, because they only showed the arachnids, mainly the bugs. I can see why they were removing that, but doesn't make it. It makes it seem weird that wasn't added in at this point, but it's added in later on, I think, and that's going to be at a later minute.
Yeah.
On my theory about that. But then throwing the knife, because like you said, that was in the book, it was more of a philosophical and moral, um, what's it called, speech about it, about the concept of disabling the opponent and all that. I can see why that part was added in, but switching the orders around, it just seems weird. Maybe it ended up on the cutting room floor, or maybe I'm just not thinking about it correctly. But I don't remember Diz actually throwing a knife.
No, I don't. I don't think we see Diz throwing that knife. So maybe, yeah, she was not in that scene because they intended it to be that she came in at that point.
Yeah, so maybe those sort of maybe they filmed it because it's earlier, and then Verhoeven just decided to scrap it and thought of a better idea.
Yeah.
Which actually, I think it. I wouldn't say it's a better idea, but it flows through with the overall concept of the concept and the direction he wanted to go in. So, I guess they both had their own merits of why they were set up the way they were.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely, I've bled this minute a little bit because I've been holding on to a lot of stuff for this minute that I was holding on since they joined the training camp. So I'm done. But Matt, is there anything you'd like to add into this?
No, I'm finished actually.
Alrighty.
Well, where can they find you, Johan?
Well, you can find me on Twitch at JDASHD26. That's the same as my Instagram. You can follow me on there.
And you guys can follow me at AltTabMatt pretty much anywhere on social media, from Twitch, Twitter, Instagram. You can see a lot of pictures of my son and my kitty cats. You can also follow the show at The Roughneck Men on Twitter. You can follow us on Facebook. Go join our group and continue the conversation at The Roughneck Minute Billet. You can also go to our website, theroughneckminute.podbean.com, for any past episodes, show notes, or anything you'd like to say on there as well, too. And also, please subscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes, Google Play, and we will be coming up on Stitcher pretty soon. I did add that application for that, so hopefully we'll get on that. I'm also thinking of possibly getting our show on YouTube as well, too, just for anyone who wants to listen to us on YouTube, because apparently that's a thing now. You can just turn off, your phone and listen to YouTube. So that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Also, if you want to, you can find us pretty much besides on iTunes or Google Play or Stitcher. You can find us on any podcasting app. Just go ahead and search for our RSS feed as well, too. But I've been one of your hosts, Matthew.
And I've been your other host, Johann.
We will see you on the Bounce Troopers.